Hello and welcome to my channel. And today we'll be talking about a game I played, but with green black Glee and not fairies today. I fired up a league just for fun, just to see what the deck is all about, and I had a game that I really wanted to show you. So this hand is a mulligan. We're on the play against an unknown, but don't have a second land. That's an easy peasy mulligan. Now with this hand, I decided to keep. I've got two lands. I've got spells I can cast. Sign me up. I'm bottoming one Nadia, and we're good to go. I begin the game with Colony Garden, aiming to just probably slow play it, play Wellspring turn 2, and be happy about it. Now I see Ponder with Snow Covered Island. That makes me think probably Blue Red Terra. Maybe Mono Blue Terra, but definitely some Terra variation. So my proceed to my own turn, and my draw is Brute Scale. And so what I did in the game, and I immediately regretted, was to actually run out the Brute Scale instead of, for example, going Wellspring, which is very safe. I did run out the Brute Scale thinking, well, I mean, these decks have to have untapped sources. That's not very common. They typically run tapped lands. So if it's blue-red, they have like 2 or 3 mountains. And mono blue cannot deal with it at all. But mono blue-black can just play a tap land and snuff it out. And I feel kind of dumb with my time you're safe keeping in hand, just doing nothing. Whereas I could have had Ico Wellspring already in play. So I was really happy about that turn of events, but let's keep on playing. I do hit my land drop, and I have a couple of options. I could go, for example, Swamp Shambling Gas Ico Wellspring. I could go Swamp Wellspring Crack Landscape. Couple of options there. I actually go for the third option, which is actually I don't. Okay, because I thought this is my Nadia turn. Actually, I didn't. Okay, because there could be a Nadia turn, and knowing that they have snuff outs means that they cannot really kill it with that card. They can with cast down, but it's still maybe a moment to resolve my 3-drop. But no, I think I was bitten a bit too hard with the previous removal spell when I wanted to go for a creature. So now I decided to actually develop the board this way. So opponent brainstorms and deploys for 2 mana Sneaky Snacker. That's largely relevant. So we go to our turn then. And also, small thing, it's really nice to be able to skip 3 entire turns with this deck compared to fairies, where I have to actually click through both my turn, opponent's turn, because constantly something's held up. Here I just pass through. So now we've got a turn, and I again can go Landscape, Nightblade, hold up keeping. I can go Nightscape, just Croc Landscape. So there are a couple of options. And because I'm not really afraid of Nightblade dying, at least the first one with 2 of them, I just go onto the battlefield a bit more. But there's a big issue with this draw right now. We don't have card advantage, so no dispute effect, or combo lined up. So we're actually just kind of playing cards. Opponent goes 4 mana Deep Analysis, so basically taps out for card advantage. That's okay. But we would like to match this with our own. And we do draw Eviscerace's Insight. Now, again, because this landscape is in play, we keep having this kind of conundrum whether we want to crack it or not. And I'm kind of... I don't. I just don't. I just use it as a land for the time being. So let's draw some cards. Hopefully hit our land drop and continue from there. And I proceed to draw... Let's see. Swamp Duress. So in this case, again, I can go Swamp Nightblade. I can go Rumble something. I can go Swamp Duress Rumble. So again, a couple of options here. And I think now I'm not sure why I duressed first. There's no... Okay, so there are 2 arguments. So the reason to rumble first is to get more information. And also if you hit a Colony Garden off of rumble, you can immediately play it and keep the untapped land for later. The argument for duressing first is, you have perfect information. So if you rumble into, for example, Nadir, Brute Scale, land Wellspring, you kind of maybe know which route to take against their particular hand. And so we see a couple of bangers. So we see double Tolarian Terror, Snuff Out, Cast Down, and Unexpected Fangs. I'm largely unfazed by Fangs. I cannot take Tolarian Terror. They have 4 cards already. Sadly, we put 5th into their own graveyard here. So in this position, I take Cast Down because I want like these creatures to die, and I envision playing Nightblade soon enough. So I do this, then I rumble, and I rumble into Nadir, Fiend, Brute-Scale. And I could see it going either way, but I take Brute-Scale because both it prepares me for the combo and it creates bodies to make Nightblade a bit more potent. I attack for 1 because I might as well. And let's see what the opponent does. They just go Terra, Tapland. And so now we're on the real clock. Now, thankfully, we can chump our way a bit. We can just take a couple of hits, jump here, get a treasure, jump here, get a bit of life. So, it's not too bad. But still. I start off with Ichor Wellspring to see what I draw into. I draw into Duress. Now, I know their hand is Unexpected Fangs and Snuff Out from the cards that I could care about. And I know I will be tapping out. Oh, I will not be playing anything else. I pre-fetch just to save my time. I'm going to Duress, Fangs, Snuff Out, Lorien Revealed. I actually take Lorien Revealed, so not an interaction spell, because I just don't want them to draw 3 when they tap out. And I'm just holding up Safekeeping. Not really holding up Safekeeping because I'm not trying to protect anything. But the alternative is tapping out for Brute-Scale, which I also don't really want. And I want to take the opportunity to do the land searching. Now I get attack for 12. And I could just get the 12 here, get hit. But I think I'm behind and I need mana to actually be able to have card draw. Because otherwise, like, I'm not actually getting off the ground. So this is the charm that basically says gain 5 life, make a treasure. They fang on this creature. Sure. It's weird because if they did this on an unblocked creature, they would have dealt me more damage and they would have gained the same, but that's okay. Maybe a slight misstep. So I make a treasure, and then I will go to my turn, but before that I play a 3rd Terra. Yikers. And I still don't have anything, really. Now, if I top deck Glee, that would be absolute, of course, I mean, I don't have nothing now. I don't have anything now. If I top the Glee, I just Brute-Scale them with Tamiyo's Safekeeping. But that's hoping for the perfect draw. Now, we don't have the perfect draw, so we need to adapt. Pun intended. So, I go with Basking Brute-Scale and immediately adapt it. First of all, to see if they snuff out. Second of all, to make a token to maybe start chumping and gain life. And so, I see that I have enough mana to go Nadir and still hold up treasure. So basically, I deploy everything I can. I've got this time your Safekeeping just in case. And I've got 1 insight in the graveyard for later. But again, back is against the wall. So they start cantripping and they attack with everything. I'm at 12. I cannot block flying. I have life gain on the battlefield with Nadir. But also, if I block with a token and it dies in combat, the trigger will only go on the stack after the damage has been dealt. So if I'm dealt lethal damage, the trigger will not have resolved. So I need to preemptively gain that life. So I make my blocks, which is take 12, and I'm at 12. But I will crack that spawn, gain 2, and I will end at 2 life. Modo, I hope Modo will pass through in a moment. Let's not click anymore because it will pass too much. So the plan is right now, yeah, okay, now it's, okay, it works. Now they hardcast Snuff Out, I Tamiyo Safekeeping, and we're on empty, right? That's the situation. Let's take a draw. And this is the situation. 2 cards in hand for the opponent, a ton of power. I'm at 6, And I kind of need to start chomping with relevant creatures, which is suboptimal to say the least. I've got 6 mana. So what I decide to do is start off with the cheap one, Malevolent Rumble, and I see Mesmering Fiend and Colony Garden. So Mesmering Fiend is cool and all, but it will probably chump anyways. That's my logic. So I'd rather, and you may have seen just a frame ago, I clicked Fiend and I declicked it because I thought, 2 mana just to chump, what's the use of that? If I can go 0 mana, chump, but also get a mana for later. So Colony Garden, literally better. Now I've got 5 mana now. I cannot play around spell piece or any D spells of sorts, so I won't. And I'm going main phase Ico Wellspring Sacrifice. Before the land drop, of course, because let's see what I draw. Because I could draw Swamp Duress. But I'm still holding it for later because, the first order of things is not die. Also, I might duress next turn to maybe clear the way from a counter spell, and also with Insight in hand, I want as much mana as possible, so I'd rather play tap land now and untap land later. So, opponent goes to it at the attacks, naturally with all. I'm at 8, and I'm taking 2, down to 6. So I could chump Terra. That's 7, and that's okay. Right? Which is exactly what I do. I take this opportunity. So I take as much damage as I can. Yeah. So now triggers on the stack. I will gain a bunch of life. But that's largely irrelevant. Because, okay, it is relevant insofar as I'm not dying in the air as much. But opponent has 1 card in hand and play another snacker. And now we draw Colony Garden. Okay, we, just for our own information, for our own sake, we have not seen any Glees. So that's all still 4 left in the deck. But also we have to have a way to start the engine. So I start off with Duress, just to make sure the coast is clear. And it is indeed clear. We see Island. So now I can go Colony Garden and then Eviscerate Insight. But what I could do is in combat, so pass, block, sacrifice, it makes me vulnerable to a counter spell. And that I think that's much more of a priority to actually get my cards going. And I draw double Dispute Effect. Interesting. But now the situation is pretty dire. I pass back right now, see what they do. They cantrip a bunch. They attack with all. Okay, at 7 life. It's pretty tough, but okay. Now I need to make some blocks. And so the way I decide to go is block with Nadirs, but keep the Brute Scale back just in case I actually manage to win the game somehow. Because keeping the Nadir is much less relevant, especially when they're gaining life. They won't be gaining life now, but still 11 is a lot. And in this position, I'm taking 7, 8, 9 damage. I need to gain 2 more life to actually survive. And I think on my part that was a misstep because I knew I could gain 1. Because if I dispute off of a Nightblade, I can only gain 1. If I dispute off of Brute Scale, I'm losing the Brute Scale. And I knew I would be in this position because nothing changed. So it's very possible I should have done the dispute effects on my own turn. But we are here. So this is exactly what I'm doing. I'm disputing one of the Nightblades, starting with the one that blocked the lifelink. I draw Wellspring Duress. So that's not really relevant. But wait, I'm not just dead yet. And I will Insight the other Nightblade. I'm still dead. Or am I? The hidden mode. Now, they could have drawn a Snuff Out or a Cast Down, right? So, I will actually Tamio Safekeeping on a land that they cannot fizzle. And I'm gaining 2, and I'm going back to 1. Now, that's my turn. I take a draw. Let's see what the draw is. Come on, Modo. Okay, Modo finally worked, and we've got Deceptive Landscape. So that's one of the most unexciting draws you could possibly imagine, right? However, I think we can make our way through that. So I play Duress, there's still an island, I play 2 mana, play Arco Wellspring, draw Sadistic Glee, I dispute, I play Sadistic Glee, I play a plant, I sacrifice the plant with the dispute effect, go off and attack them for as much as I possibly could. Actually winning this game, which is absolutely insane. I felt so good about this game. I felt so good. I mean, having won this game, not really about the quality of play, but I mean, pulling that off was just so satisfying, not gonna lie, so satisfying. So yeah, I just wanted to share that game with you. Thank you very much for coming to my channel. If you want to be up to date, click the subscribe button so you don't miss those clips. And yeah, as always, please remember to hold my hand and let's pass the turn together, and I will see you next time. Cheers.